What do you call someone who doesn't believe in invisible beings, untouchable heavens, or sacred stories that contradict what we see in reality? You don't need a complicated term. You just call them someone who waits for a good reason before believing something. That's really all this is about. Some people think this makes you close-minded, but holding off on belief until you see evidence isn't being close-minded. It's being careful. If someone tells you they can fly, you don't insult them. You just say, "Show me." And if they never do, you move on. The same rule should apply everywhere, even when it makes people uncomfortable. You don't have to be an expert in religion to ask basic questions, like why so many gods have completely different rules, why one group's eternal truth is another's heresy, why some people are taught to pray 5 times a day while others are warned not to eat pork, and both are told their way is the only way. It's not a coincidence, it's geography. People believe what they're told, especially when they're young. If you're born in Texas, you might believe in Jesus. If you're born in Tehran, you might believe in Allah. If you're born in Delhi, maybe Krishna. If belief comes from location and upbringing more than anything else, it's worth asking whether those beliefs are about truth, or just habit. This is why some people step back and say, "Hold on, do I believe this because it's true, or because I was taught to?" That step, that pause, is where things start to change. And it's usually not dramatic. It doesn't always come with anger or rebellion. Sometimes it's quiet, just a simple shift, a refusal to nod along when something doesn't make sense. There's this idea that life without belief in gods must feel empty, that it strips life of meaning. But ask yourself, where does meaning actually come from? If meaning only exists because someone above you assigns it, is it really meaning? Or is it just obedience? Meaning can come from small things. A conversation, a moment of connection, learning something new, helping someone else, creating something honest. These don't need approval from the sky to matter. People also ask, what do you believe in then? But that question misses the point. Not believing in gods doesn't mean you believe in nothing. It just means you're careful about what you call truth. You can believe in kindness, learning, music, laughter, curiosity, because these things are real. They can be tested. They show up in life. They don't ask you to suspend logic to accept them. Some people say, well, maybe science doesn't have all the answers. And that's true. But religion doesn't either. The difference is science admits it. Religion pretends it does. That's the problem. Honest questions deserve honest answers. And sometimes the honest answer is, we don't know. That answer might feel uncomfortable, but it's better than pretending to know when you don't. The people who claim to have all the answers also believed the earth was flat, that the sun revolved around us, that plagues were punishment from the divine. And when people questioned those ideas, they were silenced. That tells you something about how fragile those beliefs really were. What's often called atheism is just stepping away from that. It's not some club with rules and symbols. It's not a movement with rituals. It's not a rejection of everything. It's the refusal to settle for made-up answers just because they're comforting. People sometimes confuse tradition with truth. Just because something has been believed for a long time doesn't make it right. People used to believe in witches, bloodletting, and geocentrism. Time didn't make those ideas true. It just made them old. The same thing happens with religion. When you grow up surrounded by certain ideas, they feel normal. They feel obvious. But once you start examining them, they fall apart quickly. Take the idea of eternal punishment. You're told a loving being watches you constantly, and if you don't believe the right things, you'll be punished forever. Not for what you do, but for what you think. That's not love. That's control. Or look at creation stories. Most religions claim the universe was created just for us. But the universe is 13 billion years old, and we've been here for the blink of an eye. Our planet is one of billions. And even here, most of the Earth is uninhabitable. If this whole thing was made for humans, it was done with incredible inefficiency. Then there's the problem of evil. If a God exists who is all-powerful and loving, why does suffering exist at the scale it does? Why do babies die of diseases before they can even speak? Why do natural disasters kill people indiscriminately? Saying it's all part of a mysterious plan is not an answer. It's an excuse for not having one. And when people ask for evidence of any god, they're often told to just have faith. But faith isn't a tool for finding truth. It's a tool for stopping questions. And once you accept one thing on faith, you've lost your filter. You now have no way to separate what's real from what's invented, because you've given up your method of checking. This doesn't mean everything is bleak. In fact, it's freeing. Letting go of supernatural beliefs can be a relief. You stop worrying about being watched. You stop fearing thoughts. You stop trying to please invisible forces, and you start living for what matters to you and the people around you. You start paying attention to this life, not a promised one. You take responsibility for your actions. You find purpose in what you build, not what you're told. You care about others not to earn points, but because you understand their pain. You value your time because you know it's limited. Some people need gods to feel special, but being alive at all is already special. You are made of particles that drifted through exploding stars. Your brain can think about itself. You can laugh, love, create, learn, fail, and try again. That's not small. That's extraordinary. You don't need to be eternal to be meaningful. A song can move you, even if it only lasts a few minutes. A sunset can be beautiful, even if it fades in seconds. What makes something meaningful isn't how long it lasts. It's how deeply it's felt. So what is atheism? It's not a belief. It's not a rebellion. It's not a worldview. It's just this: a decision to only believe what there's good reason to believe. A decision to keep asking, keep exploring, and accept that not knowing is better than pretending. And in that space, in that openness, life becomes yours again. Not borrowed from tradition, not handed down from old books, but yours. To shape, question, and live. Fully, honestly, and freely.